According to every cable news anchor, every newspaper columnist, and every foreign policy expert with a blue check mark, Donald Trump's deadlines on Iran are a joke. They say he keeps bluffing. They say Iran calls his bluff every time. They say the deadlines come, the deadlines go, and nothing changes. But I am looking at the exact same situation and I see the complete opposite. And not just with Iran, because these deadlines, they are putting pressure on Iran, yes, but they are also putting pressure on Europe. They are putting pressure on NATO. And that might be the part that matters even more. So let me walk you through the sequence. 5 weeks ago, the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury. They hit Iran's missile production. They hit Iran's navy. They hit nuclear sites. They killed the supreme leader, and Iran responded the way every corner regime responds. Iran shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And that strait carries about 20% of the world's oil. So shooting the strait was Iran's biggest card, their leverage, their way of saying, you hit us and the whole world pays. And then Trump started the deadlines. The first deadline was 48 hours. Open the strait or the United States hits your power grid, starting with the biggest plant. The deadline came and Trump extended it by 5 days. He said the conversations were very good and productive. And of course, Iran's state media said that no such conversations ever happened. So the mainstream media said, oh, see, he blinked. But look at what actually happened during those 5 days. Iran started letting ships through. Not all ships, and not freely, but ships from China got through. Ships from India got through. Pakistan-flagged vessels got through. Iran basically set up a toll booth in the strait and started picking who could pass. So, to me, that looks like the beginning of a negotiation. The second deadline, April 6th, Trump extended again 10 more days. He said Iran sent him 10 Pakistani-flagged oil tankers as a goodwill gesture. And, of course, Iran denied it. But then more ships got through. French ships, Japanese ships, Omani tankers. The strait went from fully closed to selectively open. That full global energy meltdown that everyone predicted didn't happen. And it's not like Iran is being generous here. It's more like Iran is bending the knee inch by inch while pretending it was their idea all along. Now, today, April 4th, Trump posts on Truth Social, another 48 hours. All hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God. And the cycle starts again. The media says he is bluffing. The experts say the deadline means nothing. And Iran quietly lets a few more ships through. So I want you to see the pattern here. Every deadline comes with a threat. Every threat gets extended, and every extension comes with a concession from Iran. Small concessions, partial openings, a few more vessels, a few more flags allowed through. So no, Trump is not bluffing. He's grinding, and the deadlines are the pressure tool he uses to keep grinding. But now let's talk about the other pressure campaign, the one nobody is framing correctly, the one aimed at Europe and NATO. Trump asked NATO allies for help opening the strait. He asked them to send warships. He asked them to escort oil tankers. And what did he get? Italy said no. France said no. Britain said no. Greece said no. Germany's defense minister said, and I'm quoting here, "This is not our war. We did not start it." And Trump's response? He called them cowards. He told the Telegraph he is considering pulling the United States out of NATO entirely. He called the alliance a paper tiger. And Marco Rubio said the administration would re-examine the value of NATO after the war ends. And Trump himself said NATO is beyond reconsideration. Now, think about what just happened. The United States destroyed Iran's navy, hit its nuclear sites, eliminated its supreme leader, and degraded its missile capability in 5 weeks. And Europe did nothing. Europe refused to help. Europe refused to send ships. Europe even refused to let the United States use some of their air bases for the strikes. And now Europe is panicking about energy prices. 5 European finance ministers just signed a letter begging the EU for emergency windfall taxes. Britain hosted a 40-nation summit to figure out how to reopen the strait. And the United States was not at that summit. Trump told those 40 countries, and I'm paraphrasing here, "You didn't help with the hard part, go get your own oil." He also said something this week that I think was very revealing. He told those countries to buy oil from the United States of America and to build up some delayed courage. That line tells you everything about how Trump sees this. The Strait of Hormuz is not America's problem to fix. The United States produces more energy than it consumes. American gas prices went up, sure, $4.10 a gallon as of this week, and that hurts. Nobody's pretending that doesn't hurt. But every single day the strait stays partially closed, American oil and gas exports become more valuable. American energy dominance becomes more real. And every NATO ally that refused to help looks weaker and more dependent. So Trump is running 2 negotiations at the same time, and the media only sees one of them. He is negotiating with Iran through deadlines and military pressure, and he is negotiating with NATO through consequences. You wanted to sit this one out? Fine. Now deal with the energy crisis on your own. And Iran is stuck in the middle. Iran can't keep the strait fully closed because then China and India turn against them. Iran can't fully open the strait because then they lose their only bargaining chip. So Iran does exactly what a weakening regime does. Opens the door a little more every week and pretends it was their idea. Now, I remember Hugo Chavez doing the exact same thing in my country. He and Maduro would threaten to cut off oil to the United States. They would scream about American imperialism. They would pound the table and make deadlines of their own. And the difference is that Chavez and Maduro were actually bluffing. They needed the oil revenue more than Washington needed their oil. Every threat they made weakened them because the world could see there was no follow-through. Trump has the follow-through. The military campaign is 5 weeks in, and the stated objectives, destroying missiles, annihilating the Navy, cutting off the nuclear path, those objectives are largely done. So when Trump says 48 hours, he's not starting from zero. He's adding pressure to a regime that is already cracking. And the regime knows the regime is already cracking. So every authoritarian regime I have ever watched crumble did this exact thing near the end. They negotiate from a position of pretend strength while giving ground inch by inch. And the media covers the pretend strength as if the pretend strength is real because the media has A, Trump derangement syndrome, and B, does not know what a collapsing regime looks like. I do. So, Monday, April 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern, that is the current deadline. Will Trump extend again? Maybe. Probably. And if he extends again, you will hear the same headlines. Trump blinks. Iran stands firm. The deadline was meaningless. And then you will see a few more ships pass through the strait, a few more concessions that nobody reports, and a few more cracks in a regime that cannot hold. The deadlines are working on Iran and on NATO. You just have to know what working looks like. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.